Alex, how about you?
Yeah.
Well, very quickly, very brief
Running out of time.
version. As my father said, I was in the Army for 3 years, and I was a drummer. And I was in South Korea. That's where I was sent to South Korea. About 30 miles from North Korea is where I was stationed. And, you know, the Army, there's a lot of things about the Army I could say. Some of them were really awesome. Some of them were really, you know, not so great. I had some good times, and Korea for me was really a great time. But there was a point where I was just really depressed. A lot of situations kind of came together at once, and it was just a really depressing point in my life. I was away from everyone I knew and loved, and you know, when I first got there, I found a church, and situations didn't work out too well there. I went to another church, and similar things. It was just, there was so much stuff going on, and it was like these people don't follow God at all, you know. So it was, I didn't have a church to go to, and a lot of, you know, events kind of happened that really kind of turned me away from God. I never said, oh, I don't believe in God anymore or anything. I just really got caught up in sin, and I, you know, I was in this lifestyle a lot, you know, in Korea and being a soldier there, and you know, at the same time, I wasn't like really bad. I didn't, you know, I wasn't a drug dealer or anything, but I did do, you know, a lot of things, and sin is sin. You know, it doesn't matter what sin it is. Right. It's bad, and it keeps you from God. And I was definitely kept apart from God because of my sin. And so after Korea, I didn't have any like real plans. I was going to backpack through Europe, but it was a one-way ticket. I didn't sure if I was gonna, you know, stay in Europe or go home or go back to Korea or what I was gonna do. But I was gonna take a one-way trip to Europe and just do this, you know, European, you know, tour. And there was times in that where it was just, you know, a lot of it was really just experiencing the culture and seeing new things.
You did go?
Yes, I did. Went to 14 countries, and some of it was really awesome. And, you know, I did a lot of partying while I was there as well. There was 2 instances that I you know, surely remember. The first one, it was when it was about 5 in the morning. I got in the train, and I was going to go to Switzerland, the middle of Switzerland. And so I passed out on the train, and when I kind of woke up, and you just see like what you would think Switzerland to look like. I mean, just completely, I mean, just snow-capped mountains, and, you know, valleys, and there's a little, you know, lamb here or whatever. There's a little sheep and whatever they have there, and it was just really the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. And it was just like, in that moment, it's like, you know, God, I know I've come a long way from you, but I don't know how anybody could deny that you're real. I mean, this is just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. And then I continued on my trip, and I went to other places. And then pretty close to the end of my European trip, I was in Croatia, and it was another one of those things. There was this sunset over like this, you know, these cliffs and the ocean and stuff, and it was just really amazing. It was just like, you know, God, I know I've sinned, and I want to come back to you. I don't know how I'm going to do it or what, you know, what it's going to take, but I want to come back to you. It's really, I can't deny that you're real, you know. And the next day, I decided to go cliff jumping by myself, away from all civilization, where no one could hear me scream. And and you know, Wes and I, and you know, my friends, we've gone cliff jumping, you know, many times, and we do stuff like that. And this to me seemed pretty safe. I mean, I could see the water was crystal clear. I could see, you know, all the rocks. I could see, well, okay, you know, there's no way I'm going to hit the rocks below. This is safe, you know. And smart idea, right? And so, you know, just, you know, okay, whatever, you know, run, jump. But what I didn't take into account for was this was the ocean that I was jumping into, and these are crashing waves against the rocks. And so, you know, when I first, you know, went into the water, it was one of those things, again, it was just like, I'd never, ever been, you know, snorkeling or scuba diving in clear water like that. And, you know, as soon as I went into the water, it was just like I could see all these tropical fish and all these things I'd never seen before. And I was like, wow, this is really amazing. You know, there's times like, God, you know, there's no way I could deny you. And then as I come up to the surface, it's like, I'm about to be smashed against these rocks and I'm gonna die. So I was like, help. I didn't pray like, God, if you save me, I won't do this again. But I was like, God, I screwed up. I was like, and then I'd go underwater and be like, but this would be a pretty awesome place to go. I mean, this is beautiful fish. Look, there's like a stingray. Like, and then I come back to like, oh, save me, Lord. And then the biggest problem for me at the time was I couldn't climb up where I jumped off because the water was so strong. And as far as I could see, there was nowhere I could just climb up because if I got close enough to the rocks, it would have smashed me against the rocks. So I had to swim further than I knew I could swim. And, finally I got out and stuff. And from that point on was the rebuilding of my relationship with God. I was in America a week later, and, I was with my father and my brother, and, that's when I really started getting my relationship back with God. I denounced all the things I used to do, and, and it was a process, and it still is,
Sure.
It's something you got to work with every day.
That's right.
So.
But that's how God uses you.
Amen.
Oh,
and that's why there's such a peace and spirit with you sitting here with us.
And there's joy. I can see
Yeah.
the joy.
Pure joy.
I love the joy when you're playing together.